Hi, Dan. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
We had really good traction and people getting in touch from your last podcast, what we did about the 3 quick wins.
Love it.
What are we talking about this time?
Got some new stuff for you today. I think what I'm seeing anyway is a lot of business owners struggling perhaps how to stand out in the marketplace. So people who have a business who perhaps is a little bit commoditized, there's a lot of people doing the same or similar to what they're doing. Hopefully we've got some little nuggets today to help those businesses stand out a little bit more.
Okay.
We'll start off with that, shall we?
Let's dive in.
Straight into it. Cool. So essentially I have a resource to help people with this, which is a table that people can fill out as a PDF, which I'm sure you'll give away somewhere linked to this video.
Always.
And what we'll do now is we'll just talk through a portion of it and show people how to get going. But the premise is by doing this little piece of work, if you like, business owners will find ways to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. Sound good?
Okay, so we're finding our competition,
Yeah.
standing out.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so to get started with this, of course, you're going to look at yourself and your own business, but you really need to identify 3 competitors and literally name who that business is. Write the name and think of that business. And most people will know at least 1 or 2, but if you can think of definitely 3, that's where you'll be able to have the most kind of success with this.
Okay, let's elaborate on this and talk about what you're after and some sort of like example.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this little table here. I quite like tech and AI and all this kind of stuff, but when I'm doing things like this, I do like to use a piece of paper. So we're going to start off here with you. This is your business, and then you're going to write the things down here. Those lines aren't very straight, are they? But we're going to call these competitor 1, competitor 2, and competitor 3. And essentially what we're going to do for a few different topics is compare ourselves.
Okay.
So I'll give you some examples.
Like, this won't be comfortable for some people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we did this exercise and it's something that we do every couple of months. It's not fun.
Yeah.
You have to really reflect. And this from me doing this, me and Emily did this as a part of a project that we were working on. It really is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like one of the things we talk about, reviews or whatever, and it's like, well, I had 2 reviews.
Yeah. Well, that is the first one that I was going to write in
excellent.
here. It's almost like you knew it was coming. Reviews, yeah. So it's looking at how many reviews have you got and what is your average star rating. And of course, I presume when you did that, you were still a fairly new business or a new franchisee?
The franchisee for North Hampshire, West Berkshire, we were really new. Yeah. And we took it really personally. Like, our competitors have got 500 reviews, 5 stars, and we had no reviews and 1 star. Yeah. So it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's a really good place to start.
Yeah, that's the point of this, and we'll go through just maybe 4 or 5 categories here to look at, but it's a point of knowing exactly where you stand, because of course when people are looking for what you do, this will probably highlight reasons why potentially you're not being found, or definitely how you could be found more often. So yeah, looking at how many reviews that you've got and what is the average kind of star rating. So like you say, 2 reviews, average 5 star, I presume, is great. But if you know your 3 biggest competitors have all got, say, over 50 or over 100 or more than that, you know you've got a lot of work to do there on the reviews side of things. Second thing to look at here, years of experience is something I would definitely take a look at. So I've got a client he's been in the fire service over 30 years, and his business has been growing now for over 20 years, and it was nowhere to be seen on his website. But he's in the fire safety business. If you were going looking to get your fire extinguisher serviced or your fire alarms checked, wouldn't you love to have someone come in who's been in the fire service for
He's seen
years?
Frontline problems.
Yeah.
Like,
he's been on the other end of it, right? When they've been called in.
It's been too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can help you fix those things before they go wrong. So if you have been doing something for a particularly long time, even if it's similar industries or similar space, highlighting your years of experience can be a massive asset.
And we can elaborate on, let's say, this fire safety business. So he's been, let's say he's got a year 1 business, right? He's left the fire service, but he's done 30 years as a firefighter, but he's got 1 year business.
Yeah.
He can elaborate on his experience. He's got 30 years of experience in this industry, right?
Yeah, he might not have many reviews because he is a new business, but you're going to give people confidence and they're more likely to trust you if you can say, look, I've been fighting fires for 30 years. He's the chief of a station down in Dorset. You know, he's got all this huge amount of genuine credibility and experience, and now he's bringing that across to his clients. Yeah.
So like, it doesn't have to be, I'm established in 2026. I've got no years experience.
Yeah.
That's a load of rubbish, because
Most
I've got all this background stuff behind me.
Totally. And most people who start a business, right, they do it because they were doing something similar before, perhaps in a job or a career that they had before. Quite popular again with HR businesses. They were in industry, accountants as well. They were in industry working for big companies doing this stuff. Perhaps they went off and started on their own, and they have got, in many cases, decades of real experience.
Great.
So
we need to highlight every experience we've got.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can also use this if you've got a team. Perhaps, if you've got a team that's been involved in a sector for a long time between you, you might want to, add up all your experience as well. So you might want to say over 200 years experience in this office, and of course, no one's expecting that to be coming from one person.
One person.
But if you could say, a few hundred years between the whole team, if you've got a slightly larger business, again, it's adding credibility and it's making you look great. The third one I'm going to go with here is turnaround time. So I'll do an example here. An accountant business that I know in Entrepreneur Circle, actually. They were doing this exercise a few years ago, and they were looking for ways to differentiate themselves. And a big reason that people don't change accountant is because they think it's going to be a real pain. It's going to be really difficult or awkward to change accountant. And perhaps if you don't have the best accountant, just using this as an example, there's plenty of good accountants out there. But if you think it's going to be really difficult or awkward to change accountants, even if you're not so happy with your experience, you'd be reluctant to do it. So what she did as an accountant, she basically started advertising and delivered on a 7-day turnaround time for new clients. So she said, if you come on board with us today, you'll be onboarded and fully switched over within 7 days. So she knew what the pain points were for her prospects and clients, and she basically mitigated that with that.
So let's try and spin this to a children activity provider.
Yeah.
So they are... Ultimately, they want to get those children signed up and in session.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to fill in forms. Who's your this, next of kin, all the safety regulations.
Yeah.
Like they could be offering we'll do it for you. Just give us the details. We can give us the raw data, or they could be like getting the service provided quickly could be their turnaround.
Yeah. And if you can help people through that, if you've got a lot of forms to fill out, perhaps you can do it on the phone, and solve it in 15 minutes rather than waiting a week or 2 weeks for that.
Because if you're asking the parent to do anything, like they've got parenting to do, like filling in forms and finding passport size photographs. Yeah. That's an issue. So if the service, the TOTS class or whatever it is, can say, hey, we can do a lot of this for you. Yeah. We just need some data. That could be their turnaround. Yeah,
and you can say, get your child onboarded with us. Don't like the word onboarded for that situation, but it's the same sort of thing, within 2 days, if, providing, and we can help you do that. And this is how we help you. And then the parents just know it's sorted, right? 'Cause that kind of thing can be quite a big stress for some people, having it up in the air, not knowing if it's going to happen. So yeah, getting all that nailed.
I know when we're signing our kids up for classes and stuff, the one reason it doesn't happen is because I've been asked to do something and it's not top of my priority list. So when someone says, hey, just give me it and I'll deal with it for you.
Take it off you, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kids are signed up tomorrow.
Yeah. And you'll recommend them, right? So it all leads into...
I'll be talking to other dads or parents on the school run saying, you need to go to this thing because they do it all.
They were so helpful.
Yeah, they're really
And that's the point of this, right? How are you standing out against your competitors? So the provider that does that for you is absolutely going to stand out. So a lot of these things that we're talking about as well, you may already be doing these things. It may already be part of your systems, your processes. But the point here is, are you talking about it? Is it on your website? Are you putting content out about it every now and then and actually making it known that you do those things? So you don't necessarily have to go and do loads of new stuff here. You can sometimes just help you extract some of the things you're already doing.
Ramp it up.
Yeah, exactly right. Cool. So with that, we'll look at a guarantee or a promise. Two slightly different things. I would say a guarantee is kind of ironclad. If this happens, we will do X, or we will do X within this many days, for example. So a lot of businesses might have a 30-day money back guarantee, for example. Obviously that is a guarantee. And a promise is more kind of, I'll assure you we'll do this, we will do this for you. And it's not really backed by anything, but it can still be powerful when used in the right way. And again, many people may already have a guarantee, but it might not be front and center of their business. And again, it's picking out those pain points, like we mentioned with the turnaround time. What is it that your customers are really worried about? And especially if people are trying something new, the money back guarantee is a great way to introduce that.
Some of the, like, from the experiences we're getting at Toddle about, these businesses may not be in a position to guarantee stuff, because they're providing services, and it's not viable to do the money back. But the promise of something else is that spin.
Yeah,
I know people will be watching this now going, yeah, but we can't do that. Every business can do it in some way, shape or form, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you're offering any kind of free trial, switching that for a 30-day money back guarantee might be a good way to help with cash flow as well. So if you're currently offering something where the first week, 2 weeks, month is free, actually, can you still get the money up front but just promise to refund it if they're not happy for obviously certain reasons, which you can determine? So that helps you get people that are more serious. So if you've got a free trial, perhaps you'll get people through the door that aren't too serious and have no intention of going beyond that free trial. They're just trying it out just to maybe fill some time or just for something to do. But if you can get that guarantee in place, people will pay you up front, which is obviously great for the business. And it means that you'll get more people who are serious and potentially less time wasters as well. So yeah, definitely consider swapping a guarantee for a free trial.
Free trial. So look, we've got 4 really good things there.
Yeah.
And I know on the list there's what, 18?
There's more than 12 for sure.
Yeah. So if anybody does want this, send me a message saying just you want the form.
Yeah.
bill@toddleabout.co.uk, and I'll make that available to you with all your details on it. Because there's hundreds of things here.
Yeah.
But like, let's say, for example, we filled in this, we know our competitors, we've outlined our differences. What's next?
Yeah, definitely this should give you a bit of a to-do list. So it might be things to improve on your messaging, your website when you're out and about talking about, and it'll give you things to improve, perhaps like your review count like we talked about. But I think ultimately all this links back to trust. So our second bit for today, I want to talk a little bit about getting found by AI, and it does link back to trust.
I'm a big advocate of this.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. People's got to know, like, and trust you before they buy.
Trust is a massive thing. And if we just think back to, I don't know, was it the 90s or early 2000s when kind of Google came out, and obviously we had Ask Jeeves and these other things, but Google obviously became the leader in search. And for, over 20 years now, the default for most people has been to just, if they want to find something, put it into Google.
Just Google it.
Yeah, just Google it, right? It is literally, that is the phrase that everyone knows. And of course, when you Google it, we all know what this looks like. You get the white page, lots of blue links. Sometimes a little bit of a Google Maps with lots of red dots and pins. We know the ads are at the top, sometimes off to the side. And then we've got our page 1 results. And that's, most people barely leave page 1 if they're going looking for something. They might go over to Google Maps depending if they're looking for something locally. But of course, so many people now are just going to something like ChatGPT. We'll just use that as an example for today, but it could be any of the others.
Other AI platforms available.
Yeah.
If ChatGPT wants to sponsor a podcast, come talk to me.
You're all for it. But yeah, essentially people are going to ChatGPT and saying, how can I find this near me in my local area? And that's giving them the results personalized to them, because of course these things are getting to know us now really well. Yeah. The more you put into them, the more they're learning about you. So yeah, already the data's there. People are switching away from Google and using these AI chatbots to find things locally. So now a big thing for local businesses is, of course, how can you get shown or recommended by AI? That's what I think we should just have a little talk about.
You're going to have to lead on this, mate, because I am lost.
Cool.
So what can we be doing?
Cool. So there's a few things. I'll recommend a really good tool that I don't have no affiliation with, but I'll recommend a really good tool at the end. But essentially AI is looking at what can be categorized as a trust score. It's looking at how trustworthy, essentially, as its number one factor. There are lots of other factors, but trust, I believe, is the number one factor that AI is looking at as to whether to recommend a certain business for a certain thing in a certain area. And there's different ways and different things you can do to increase the chances that you will be shown. Have you ever looked out of interest?
I have. I got lost in this, to be honest. And like, we are a franchise business and the links don't necessarily work for us, but from a top-down Toddle about perspective,
you guys were there?
We were there.
Yeah, amazing. That's great. So obviously you must already be doing some of this, or at franchise level it's all happening already, right? Which is great. So there are a few ways that you can improve it. So again, I'll just give a few of those just now, but one of the biggest trust factors, if you like, is pricing. So AI loves it if you've got prices on your website. And I know a lot of businesses, if you're selling a product, it's a bit different. Some high-end products won't be on there. But if you're selling a service, I know a lot of, especially small businesses, they find it difficult to put prices on their website.
It was I've read Marcus Sheridan's You Ask, We Answer. And the big bit for me was just like, oh, I'm going to keep that pricing behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You have to ask for it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want my competitors to know my pricing. Your competitors know.
Oh, of
right?
course they do. Yeah,
they know what you're charging.
Yeah.
They know, make sure you're staying market value, and they're not going out to poach your customers, but they want to make sure that they are an option.
Yeah.
So don't be precious about not advertising your pricing, because I know what my competitors are charging, and I've got to stay in front of it. I've got to, we are more expensive in some ways, but in other ways we're a much better deal. So just be open with it, and there are more expensive options out there.
Yeah, of course. And I think if we all know this as consumers as well as business owners, right? If you go and look for something and you go around the website and it just gives no indication on price whatsoever,
bespoke to you,
it's really unhelpful. You don't actually know, can I afford it? Is it too cheap? Do I want something a bit more premium? Doesn't matter where you are on the scale. I think either way, having no pricing is actually really unhelpful.
It's contradictory of what you're trying to do. You've got that customer to your website.
Yeah.
Now tell them how much that thing is.
Yeah, and we keep saying it, but it is trust, right? And there's different ways you can do this, because when I mention this, especially with my one-to-one clients, sometimes the pushback I get is, well, it varies. And for obviously a lot of business types, it does vary, right? But I think the solution there is to give a range.
Yeah.
So, this service costs from X to Y. Or just say from, you don't even have to give a top end. You can just say it starts at, or from is the best word. And then just give some reasons as to why the price might change. You'll be at the lower end of this range for these reasons. You'll be at the higher end of the range for these reasons. And you haven't locked in and said it's going to be this much, but you've given people a bit of an idea, and you're helping to educate your audience, and just say, it'll be more expensive or it'll be cheaper depending on these factors. Yeah.
Great. So get your pricing out there.
Absolutely, yeah. Pricing on the website. Cool. And then content, we're going to call this, but it's really about having a knowledge base. Do you guys have a knowledge base on your website? Should we explain what that is?
Let's say we're not as well as we should. We're doing lots of on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously we're doing the stuff here with Creative Content Studio, and Jim and Kate here really help us put this content together. Yeah. So we are, as a franchisee, we're putting some content together, and we need to elaborate on what we're offering.
Yeah, so this goes back quite a way now, but again, Marcus Sheridan's book, they ask you, answer, having that knowledge base on your website is super, super helpful, not only for your audience, but now it's equally, if not more important, for being found in AI. So essentially the short version of what that is, for people that don't know, it's about answering the questions that your customers are asking on your website in a really helpful way. So it's basically an FAQ section on steroids. And if you can have one web page for every question that gets asked, give them maybe a short answer at the top, but then go into detail on the page as well, give a thorough answer. And then if you can also record a video, so like you just talked about, if you can record a video of yourself or someone in the business also answering that question and putting it on the same page, it can literally just be you reading the web page. But if you've got, of course, people absorb information in different ways, right? Some people will never read a wall of text, but they'll watch a 30-second, 40-second video. So the whole point here is proving yourself as the expert, showing that you're the expert, showing that you know what you're talking about. And by doing this on your website in the form of a knowledge base and updating it and adding things regularly, means that AI will trust you more. It's
bringing that person out of the business, bringing your personality to the consumer's mind eye, being that person of influence, being like, I know what I'm on about. Like, trust me, because and here's the fact. Like that's what the blog or the web page is all reassuring that person on the customer end. Like, here's the fact-based information.
And like we said before, people have so much trust, so much choice these days. They've got 100 people to choose from whatever they're looking for. And, if you do go the extra mile and provide this information for free to your audience, people will warm to you and it will attract people to you. So one that's probably not as obvious to people is sensationalist claims. And I imagine only a very small people probably watching this are guilty of this, but having essentially false promises on your website or in your messaging that don't appear very realistic or aren't realistic is a really big way to turn AI off your business and your website. So if you're making, double your profits in 90 days, or come and sign up for this course, or do this thing, or come here and get these amazing results, or lose 50 kilos in 2 weeks. If you're making claims like this,
you've got to back it up.
Yeah, you've got to be able to back it up, or what will probably happen is AI will see that on your website and it will just send you tumbling down the rankings because it thinks that it can't be true.
Okay, so we've covered a little bit how to be found and what we should be doing.
Yeah.
What's their next steps? How can they get this stuff?
If you want to take this really seriously, there is a tool I can recommend. And this is currently the only one that I'm aware of doing this, but there may be more out there. And again, I have no affiliation, but it's a really good tool that I've been using for about 6 months. And it's called AI Trust Signals. So you can find it on aitrustsignals.com. Marcus Sheridan, who wrote the book we talk about.
He's getting a few plugs here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing well out of this. But he produced his business produced this piece of software. And essentially what you can do is really quickly on the homepage, you type in your business name and your website address, press submit, and then the AIs go away. It can take anywhere up to a few hours, sometimes 6 hours, depending, and it will generate a report from you. So the first time I did this, I got a 34-page report out of it, which is a lot to just look at, but it also gives you an amazing dashboard which breaks everything down. And essentially it looks across 18 trust scores. So we've just talked about only 3 of them. Some of them are super techy and you'll have to give to your web developer to do, but there's definitely things that you can do yourself. And essentially it gives you a report of how you've scored on each of the 18 areas and really actionable stuff you can do to improve. And the theory is improve your score and you get found by AI.
What's the cost of that?
I pay $10 a month.
Okay.
So it's less than £8 a month.
So, and is it something you're revisiting and sort of like, do you need to subscribe? Is it something you should just incorporate it into your business?
Yeah. So you can get a basic report for free. If you want a comprehensive report, you pay the $10. And then what I personally do and my clients do is we pay the $10 per month. And what it does every month is it regenerates that report. So if you are working towards this to improve, it'll go back every month and redo its search again. And hopefully, if you're doing these things, you'll see your score increase. And then it'll give you an updated to-do list of things to do. So again, we're just picking 1 or 2 areas each month to work on, make some improvements on, and then we get that new report, check it's worked, and then go again. So it's a long-term project.
So for businesses wanting to scale up, to grow, like that business growth that we're all thriving for, that $8 a month, is it?
$10.
$10 a month.
Yeah.
Like it's so worth it.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing, like I said earlier, with the competition table, if you're in a almost commoditized industry, there's a lot of people doing what you're doing, you need to be on AI. You need to be recommended when people are looking for your stuff. And
just on that point, I think it's really important just to, because I fell into this category of going, nobody does what I do. Nobody, I'm unique. I'm a unicorn in this industry. Like, come on, Bill, let's be realistic. You're not. Like, I think those businesses saying, oh, but every customer's different. Like you need to get out of that way of thinking because you're not, right? Yeah.
This is coming. It's already here in a lot of respects. And I think if you're not on top of this in the next few years, there's potentially your website can be left behind, because a lot of SEO work that you've done in the past will help you with this, but there are extra things now that everyone needs to be doing to stay ahead.
So in your opinion, is Google not the place of search anymore? Or is it they're working to incorporate AI? Where are you seeing Google? I'm not saying that you're in charge, but are people still going to Google for this stuff?
Yeah, I think people still are. I mean, Google pays a horrendous amount of money to Apple every year to be the default search on your iPhone. So an iPhone's, the king of phones for the most part. So yeah, I think Google definitely still has a place, and you may have noticed when you search now, it's got AI mode right there. Sometimes it defaults to that. So it's an interesting time because everybody is trying to keep up with each other, all these different companies that are embracing AI, but ultimately to be found by AI mode on Google, the same principles here still apply.
Great. Okay, so this is the second time you've been in, Dan. Like, I think there's so much more we can dive into. What we need to know is, are you guys out at home interested in this? Do you want more of this information? Because we can absolutely dive deep on some actionable steps for you guys. But what we want to know is, are you listening? Do you want more? because I know like we do a lot of stuff together to help us grow. I think there's so much more out there what you can do for everybody else.
Yeah, we're kind of just tip of the iceberg here, isn't it, for all kinds of things, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So thanks very much, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
And things like let's dive deep on our next subject.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Thanks very much. And if you're a family-focused business that wants to get seen by thousands of parents, why not take advantage of the free listing on the Toddle About website? Check out the link below and we will do it for you.